Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Ashley and I make astrology videos here on YouTube. So I've recorded this video 3 times and for some reason my memory cards have just been all fucked up. I think it was because of the retrograde, so I'm hoping that this one comes through. Anyways, so today I'm making a video on Love is Blind, which I mean, when I first recorded it, it was like super relevant because the reunion had dropped that day. Now it's like been a week and a half since and it's kind of dying out, but I still want to make this video because no one else has and I think it's pretty interesting. So I took it upon myself to do research on everyone's zodiac signs, which was fun because I wish I knew their signs during the freaking show, but I didn't, unfortunately. But now I'm going to tell you guys what their zodiac signs were, how they played into like their personalities and their relationships. So it took me a long time to find everyone's sign, just saying. I had to do like research through websites, their Instagrams, their tagged photos. I was scrolling. I think like the one that took me the longest was Carlton, but I couldn't find his. It took me like an hour to look through his stuff. Could not find his zodiac sign. So if anyone knows Carlton's zodiac sign, leave it down below because I'm very curious. So unfortunately we don't have that one in this video. Anyway, so if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and if you like zodiac astrology stuff, which you probably do, check out my website zodiachaven.com. You can use the coupon code TheAmateurGuru to save money off of your order. There's lots of cute stuff on there. Trust me, you should check it out. It's really dope. Shipping is slow right now because a lot of flights have been delayed and canceled and there's like issues with transportation, so shipping is really slow. But if you have the time to wait for the package, then place your order. Okay, so the first couple we're going to talk about is Amber and Barnett. Oh my god, their zodiac signs make so much sense, so I'm just gonna talk about them for a moment. So Barnett, I mean, upon first impressions you obviously realize that he's a sleazeball. He is super like, he's just gross, like he's just grimy. Like he was always making all these weird perverted comments, very sexual, very charming and very like closed off in a way, and he was also like playing all these girls. I mean, that was fine, that's how you should play the game, but it was really interesting to see him like have these like full-on relationships with multiple women and like feel no ways about it. So his sign was pretty obvious to me. If you haven't guessed already, he was a Scorpio. He is a Scorpio, he's not dead. He's a Scorpio. And it just makes so much freaking sense. Like everything about his personality, like down to like the wall he had up and like the fact that he was, you know, a womanizer and that he was so sexual. Like everything that people said, he was just like super gross and sexual about it. I mean, the girls were loving it. That's the funny thing, because they were eating that shit up. I personally, I would have been like Diamond, like no, but these girls were loving it. He was a little snake charmer. Scorpio makes so much sense for Barnett. Amber, I mean, if you guys didn't know, she's a little crazy. She's very like protective of her man. She's very controlling. She's just crazy. Like she's always making these comments about like killing him and like about their fiery relationship, and like she's just always making strange comments. And she was very feisty and she was ready to like jump at Jessica. You could tell she's the kind of girl that she's not all talk. Like I feel like Amber really would fight someone. Even if she can't fight, I feel like she would do what she can because she seems like she's like very fiery. So her zodiac sign, Aries, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. And their dynamic as Aries and Scorpio, like I get it. Like especially when they were saying, okay, so at the reunion you could tell that they were having like this like they're together and they're happy, but you can also tell that they like definitely have their ups and downs. I feel like they have very low lows and high highs or whatever. I feel like Scorpio and Aries energy is very chaotic, very intense. And she even mentioned that they almost got a divorce. And I found that really interesting because, I don't know, I always say that Scorpio and Aries they're just like, I don't think they're the best match. I feel like they want to be with each other so bad, and I feel like Aries and Scorpio have so much love for each other and are drawn to each other like magnets, but when they get together it just doesn't work. Like the two worlds just don't work out in my opinion. But I mean, hey, Amber and Barnett are still going strong a year and a half later, so I mean, you never know. Okay, so Kenny and Kelly, the most boring couple out of the entire season. I don't know if it's just me, but I found them to be so boring. I would either be on my phone during their parts, or I would just like tune out, go wash some dishes while it was playing. Like I did not care for Kenny and Kelly. They were so dry, they were so dull. And it's interesting because neither of their zodiac signs are like boring signs, you know what I mean? It's not like they're like Capricorns. I'm sorry, I had to. Okay, so Kelly's personality was very friendly, personable. You could tell that she got along with everybody. Everybody seemed to like her, and she was, you know, she had that like confident energy even though she wasn't the most attractive person. I'm so sorry, I had to say it. I didn't find her to be the most attractive. I think she looked 37 years older than she really was, but anyways, that's neither here nor there. She was very confident, so that made her appear more beautiful, and she really like grasped the attention of Kenny. And I mean, this was some major Leo energy. I wouldn't have guessed Leo personally. Once I read she was a Leo, I was like, okay, I guess that kind of makes sense, but I wouldn't have guessed it just because she's very like dull. But she may be the more like timid, reserved Leo, and I don't know, right? I don't know. As for Kenny, I mean, okay, so he has like that, I feel like in his personality, he seems to have like the controlling side, which I could be totally wrong about because it didn't really come out on the show, but I feel like he had the controlling side of his personality. I also feel like he was very like by the book in certain ways, like very like rule oriented. I don't know, that's just like the energy I was getting. But he is an Aries, and I didn't see that coming at all. I didn't see that coming. I think that certain sides of his personality make sense, like from what you see on the show. I'm really wondering what their rising signs are, but I don't think I can find that. Birthdays were hard enough, but he's an Aries. So it's interesting that 2 fire signs didn't work out. A and B, 2 fire signs were so dull because they were dry. Like, I didn't understand why they seemed so like, I don't know, like they had no excitement in their relationship. I guess they just weren't compatible as individuals, you know. Maybe their Venus or their freaking moon signs were not compatible, but I just feel like their relationship surprised me when it comes to their zodiac signs, because you would think that they would be like the adventurous, fun, outgoing couple, but they were like the opposite of that. I don't know. Kelly did seem a little outgoing. You could tell that she's got a bubbly personality. She seems very likable. But I mean, yeah, I think that Kenny was a nice guy, and you could see the caring aspect of the Aries, but their signs did surprise me, I will say. Jessica and Mark. These ones, their signs make total sense. Okay, Mark, lover boy, emotional, attached, sweet, cheesy, considerate. Remember that date with the pods? That was so sweet. I mean, to me it was corny, but it was really sweet, and I just feel like behavior like that can only come from a water sign. And Mark's sweet, sensitive self is a Pisces, which makes, oh my god, so much sense. Like, I would have guessed that. I thought that he was a water sign because he seemed very emotional and attached, and like the fact that he put Jessica before himself a lot, like he would put her needs before himself, and he was so blinded by love that he was just like not really thinking about what's best for him and if this woman is good for him, which she wasn't because she was crazy. He was so willing to give her everything. He was so willing to open up his heart to her. He fell in love really fast. Like, he was such a Pisces. He is such a Pisces. Oh my god. I think that date that they had, like when they were in the pods in the apartment, that really seemed, you know, Pisces of him, because it was so cheesy and so corny, but it was so sweet, and that was just like some typical Pisces shit right there. Jessica, she was one of the least likable people I've ever seen on TV. She was just a mess. She seemed to hold everything in. So she would be feeling all these things towards Mark, and she sits in the freaking little diary room telling the camera, letting us know how she feels, but when it comes to Mark, she didn't say shit to him. So in her head, she's like battling all of this Mark nonsense, this relationship and Barnett and this and that, and meanwhile Mark has no idea, because she's trying to keep this from him and protect his feelings, and it's just like she's letting it bottle up, and then at the end it's like she's still seeming like she's gonna marry the man, and then she doesn't, and it's like, yo, you could have just told him this 2 weeks ago, but you had him like, you know, under the wrong impression. Not only that, her manipulative behavior is very Cancer of her. She was also very moody. Like, she'd be like so in love with him one second and then like so like annoyed with him the next second. And then there was also like the fact that she was so insecure about the age difference. Like, she constantly needed him to reassure her and be like, this is okay, it's okay, it's okay. But it's like, yo, like, if you're not okay with it, you're not okay with it. Like, clearly you're the one that has a problem with being 10 years older than him. So if you have a problem, deal with it. Like, stop being so insecure about it. She's very manipulative. Like, when she got drunk, she would get very manipulative and like be mean to him typical Cancer behavior. I'm sorry, these are all the negative Cancer traits, but because I see her as an unevolved Cancer, like, yeah, she might be like 87, but she's still unevolved and she still has work to do. I'm sorry, that was shady. She's like 34, but she looks old. As for the relationship, I would have thought that it would go better than it did, seeing as they're two water signs. Not only two water signs, like Cancer and Pisces are very compatible, and they usually get along on an emotional level, on a soul connection, all of that stuff, and they just like didn't work. I think that Mark is more mature than Jessica, even though he's 10 years younger. Like, I didn't understand that, but I think he was more mature than her, or at least a more evolved version. He was also immature in some ways. For example, like, he couldn't just open up his eyes and see that this girl was wrong for him because he just wanted a girlfriend so bad, wanted a wife so bad. But I think that he's too good for her, and they weren't compatible, even though their zodiac signs say otherwise. I didn't see it there. Damien and Gigi. Okay, so Gigi, oh my god, she is crazy. She is toxic and she's self-destructive. But the problem with Gigi is that, like, she's so like self-aware about being self-destructive, you know what I mean? But she thinks that being self-aware is enough. Like, that's not enough. You gotta do something about it. Like, you can't just be like, I'm self-destructive, it's my personality trait. Like, you can't do that. Like, you have to be like, okay, this is my problem in life, this affects me and my relationships, let me work on this. But she just seemed like she was just so accepting of it, like, oh, I'm self-aware, so that's all that matters. Anyways, she was crazy. She was very, very toxic, and everything that she did was very dramatic and intensified when it didn't need to be. Very fiery person, very confrontational. And I mean, this all makes sense because guess what her sign was? Aries. Another Aries. Her and Amber, I can see the similarities when it comes to like protectiveness, level of crazy, reactive, just intense people. And I really, really see the Aries in Gigi. I think I actually guessed it because like everything about her was just saying like, I'm crazy. And as I always say, Aries, there's something else. Makes sense though that her and Damien worked out, even though they didn't make it down the aisle, because Damien is a Gemini, and I feel like Geminis love crazy and they know how to like level it out. I feel like he gives her sanity, like he brings her to like, you know, a normal state of mind, and I feel like he balances her out and can handle the crazy and likes. That's why like some days he'd be like all for the crazy, the next day he'd be like super rational and logical. I also noticed while they were having arguments that Damien was really good at communicating, and that made a lot of sense to me because I mean, air sign, I knew he was an air sign because of how he communicated, but I didn't guess Gemini. And Gemini makes a lot of sense because I feel like they're able to be very logical, reasonable in conversations, and he really was. Sometimes I'd be like, why is he even explaining this to her, because she shouldn't need this explanation, but he'd really like break it down for her, and I'd be like, damn, like, wow, he did a really good job at that. Like, I was like proud of him, and he had like a lot of self-respect. And yeah, I liked Damien. Damien's a good guy, you can tell, and he is definitely a Gemini. Definitely a Gemini. I could like, makes so much sense, oh my god. But yeah, Gigi was toxic, and I hope she's gotten better and worked on herself. So once again, I don't know Carlton's zodiac sign, but if I had to guess, I would say a Gemini or Sagittarius. It's very interesting that I say that because they're opposite signs, but I say Gemini or Sagittarius just because like he was so hot and cold. He was just weird. He seemed like a weird guy, and I just feel like, I don't know, Gemini to me, or Sag because he was so angry. Diamond on the other hand, she was like that sweet, innocent, loving, kind girl, and then you cross her and just like she blacks out in anger and she becomes a whole new person. And she was just like, you could tell that like when they were fighting she probably blacked out, and when she watched it back she was probably like, I don't remember saying any of that because I was so angry. You know what I mean? Like when you're angry and you just black out and you forget everything you said because you're in the heat of the moment. I feel like that's such a Sagittarius thing. So Diamond's a Sagittarius, so that explains like the feistiness, the use of words, like the way she was fighting with Carlton. I was like, yes girl, like it was so good because she said everything. She like hurt his ego. It was good. I mean, like Carlton had some things to say too. I mean, about her wig sliding, I was like, bitch, oh my god, because her wig was really bad. I'm so sorry. When she was at the reunion, she had like her natural hair. I was like, okay, yes, there we go. But the wigs, oh my god, that lace was, sorry. Anyways, Carlton was mean. And she didn't deserve all that. She did not deserve all that. She was trying to be understanding with him, but you could tell he's so defensive that he wasn't seeing it that way. Like, he was so quick to be like, no, she doesn't want me. But like, she could have worked through that with him. But anyways, yeah, Diamond was definitely a Sagittarius. Makes so much sense why she was so feisty. I wish I knew Carlton's sign. Once again, please, 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 if you know his sign, drop it in the comments down below and I'll pin the comment. So the last couple, obviously I have to save the best for last, is Lauren and Cameron. They are my favorites, obviously. If you watch the season and they're not your favorites, I don't know what's wrong with you, because they were so cute. Lauren and Cameron's zodiac signs match up perfectly. They are actually a match made in heaven. I think they're so perfect together. Lauren, so you obviously noticed that she was very scared to lose her independence. She was very closed off about how she was feeling in terms of, are we getting married, are we not? Because you know what, I have to give it to her, she was honest. Kelly, for example, she left Kenny thinking that she was about to say yes, and she said yes, right? But the whole time Lauren stuck true to herself and she said, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, down to the day before the wedding, I don't know. And I respect her so much for that, because if she were to say no, I know that Cameron would have been like at peace knowing he saw it coming, and he wouldn't be like shell-shocked, you know what I mean? So she was very honest about that, and I really respected her for that. She was very considerate of his feelings. Lauren was such a sweetheart. Oh, she's a Scorpio. She's a Scorpio, which makes so much sense. That's why she was so afraid to like give up her lifestyle for someone that's just entering her life, because she's very protective and in her own bubble. And you could see that she's also very charming and bubbly. Scorpios are so bubbly and friendly and like giggly, and you meet them and you're just like, wow, this person's amazing. So the Scorpio from her, so finding out that she was a Scorpio made so much sense. As for Cameron, his emotional ass, sensitive ass, adorable ass self, he's not even my type, but I find him so attractive. I love Cameron. He was such a little baby. He was such a baby. And if you don't know, Cancer, doesn't that make so much sense? That's why he was crying all the time. He was crying all the time. But Scorpio and Cancer, match made in heaven, because I feel like the Scorpio is definitely emotional, but they're able to balance the Cancer's emotions more than like another water, like a Pisces would. And they have like that water connection, so they get along really well. And like Scorpio's more fun and outgoing, and the Cancer's more reserved, but they bring the different sides out of each other, and I just feel like they're so compatible. And he just appreciates and values Lauren, and they're just so cute and they're so sweet, and I love them. Oh my god. But yeah, okay, so that wraps up my video. So those were all of the couples on the show Love is Blind. If you want to see me break down people's zodiac signs on any other TV shows, let me know. I don't watch that much TV, but I definitely do watch like Netflix shows and The Bachelor and stuff like that. So let me know, and I'll definitely have that done for you guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It really, really helps me out a lot. And give a subscribe. I would really appreciate that. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.